Hello everyone. Okay, we're going to do some functions by hand. So let's say you had a function f of x equals 3x plus 4, something linear, okay? And we're going to do a small table. We're not going to do too many. X is your input and then f of x your output, right? Let's say they give you something like -2, 0, and 1, a negative number, a 0, and a positive number. So let's put the first one in. F of -2 equals, I like to put parentheses where there's multiplication. So 3 times, which is a parentheses, -2, close parentheses, plus 4. Parentheses, again, gives me the idea, oh, I have to multiply. 3 times -2 is going to be -6. Then you add the 4. -6 plus 4. So if the signs are different, you subtract, and then you keep the sign of the larger number. Okay, so this one is going to be -2. Some people think of it differently. Let's say you had 6 holes and 4 piles of dirt. You can fill 4 of the holes, and then you still have 2 holes, which would be -2. It really depends on how you learned it and how you want to learn it for those negative numbers. So let's say f of 0. Okay, f of 0. And this one, you will pop in 0 for x, so 3 times 0 plus 4. Okay, still put parentheses, 3 times 0 is 0 plus 4. Rewriting the answer and not leaving a blank is important, so you can see that you're doing the right steps, and this will be a 4. And then f of 1, right, equals, so every time you see an x, you put a 1. So this is 3 times 1 plus 4. Again, I put parentheses so that I can put the value of 1. Then 3 times 1 is going to be 3 plus 4. And that gives you what? 7, right? 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Or 3 plus 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. So -2, I should have been writing this out. It's going to be -2, 0 is going to be 4, and 7 is here. And the reason why you do something like this is so that you can graph it. This becomes a line, a linear equation. Linear equations, you'll need 2. Usually you need 2. You can use 1 point as long as you know the slope. But most people will have to have two points to draw that line. Okay, so the next one is f of x equals x squared plus 2x plus minus 3, let's say. This is a quadratic. It's a bowl-shaped picture. And in this case, we're not going to do too many. Just enough so you can get a sense of what's going on. Okay, -1, 0, and 2. So here, every time I see an x, I'm going to put parentheses and plug in the value that I want. So f of x, no, it's f of -1 equals, this is x squared, so I'm going to put parentheses, I'm going to put a -1 squared plus 2 times, right? 2 times, these two things are joined by multiplication. I'm going to put parentheses, I'm going to put a -1 minus 3. Now, this is going to have extra steps, but this is -1 times -1, right? Here, we got a +2 times a -1, right? A positive times a negative, that's right, a negative. 2 times 1, 2. And then here, this is just a -3. So here, we know it's going to be what? -1 times -1, that's right. +1, minus 2, minus 3. Ooh, okay. So you could put these two together. If the signs are the same, you add, right? That'll give you -5. And then 1 minus 5, right? It's going to give you -4. There's other ways of doing this. 1 take away 2 is -1. -1 take away 3 is -4. There's a whole bunch of ways of rearranging this, okay? So it's important that you get a sense of what your teacher wants you to do, okay? All right. So let's do the next one. F of 0 equals 0 squared plus 2 times 0 minus 3, right? So again, you pop in a 0. Now you could put parentheses. All right, we'll do that. And 0 times 0 is 0. 2 times 0 is plus 0. And then the -3. 0 plus 0 is 0. Take away 3 is still -3. So that was pretty easy. And of course, we can fill this out as we go. We could if we wanted to. The next thing is f of 2 equals. So this is going to be 2 squared plus 2 times 2 minus 3. So 2 times 2 is what? 4. And then 2 times 2 is another 4 minus 3. That's going to give you 8, right? 8 take away 3, right? 8 take away 3 is going to be 5, right? 5. Okay. That's not too bad. Now, we're going to do a rational, I don't know if these are expressions. I got a rational function. That would be more appropriate. This would be f of x equals x squared minus 1 divided by the square root of 4x minus 2. I didn't draw it that great, but it's good enough. Now, I'm going to do two values here, x and f of x, right? Oh, yes, I said it was a parabola, right? This was a different function. So let's say this will be 3 over 4, a fraction, and then a 3. Oh, boy. Now, don't forget, fractions are your friends. So, let's do f of 3 over 4, okay? It's not that bad. Every time we see an x, we pop in 3 over 4. So, this is going to be 3 over 4 squared, put the parentheses, take away 1, divided by 4 times 3 over 4. That's a 3, by the way. Okay. Take away 2, and then square root. Now remember, when we see an x, we put parentheses. Well, in this case, right, we're multiplying something. Usually, you can see that, right? There's a number and an x, parentheses. A number and x, parentheses. Just an x squared, parentheses. So you can see the pattern, you can put parentheses so that you can know that's the value you're popping in. All right, so here, there's a few things. This is 3 over 4 times 3 over 4, take away 1. Keep that in mind. This one is 4 times 3 over 4, take away 2, and don't forget the square root. Okay, yes, you know, oh, you're putting these intermediate steps. Might be a little confusing. Why don't you just multiply it out? Well, remember that this video is for different people with different skill sets. And sometimes we need to remember the steps we took. If I just would have done 9 over 4, then you would have been like, where did the 9 over 4 come from? Well, you can see now that the 9 comes from 3 times 3, which is 9, over 4 times 4, 16, take away 1, divided by 4 times 3 is 12 divided by 4, take away 2, and don't forget the square root. So a big difference in terms of doing math and then doing math step by step is that you can see the steps that you need. Some people think, well, that's not how you're going to learn. You just do it. Well, sometimes we need those steps. Okay. All right. So 9 over 16 take away 1. This 1 is pretty cool because it can change into 16 over 16, which is 1. Why 16 over 16? Because I looked at this denominator here. So 9 over 16, take away 16 over 16, divided by, right? And we can continue on, I know. But let's do the bottom over here. 4 divided by 12 is 3. Take away 2. Don't forget the square root, right? And then we can write 9 take away 16 over 16 divided by the square root. 3 take away 2 is 1. A lot of steps. 9 take away 16, right? So you can count up. The signs are different. You subtract. So 9 take away 16 is 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So that's 7. 7. Negative 7 over 16 divided by the square root of 1 is 1. So the negative 7 over 16. Now, this one right here, 9 take away 16. I remember having issues with this because I would use my fingers to count. And I don't have 16 fingers. But I have an imaginary 16 fingers over here somewhere. So I can say, you know, like I said, there's an imaginary 16. I can say 6, 7, 8, 9, and that would be 7. Let's look at that again. I can pretend I have 10 and another 5 fingers in 1, right? So it'll be 16. So I would drop 6, 7, 8, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? Because it's 9 take away 16, so I left with 7. The only thing is I would have to remember it's take away 7. Don't like that? Don't have to use it. Okay. You should figure out a way how to do these. And then f of 3, right? F of 3, 3 squared, take away 1, divided by the square root of 4 times 3, take away 2. So this one, 3 squared is 3 times 3. So I'm going to do something that I didn't do here, which skips some steps. 3 squared is 9. Take away 1, divided by 4 times 3 is 12. Take away 2. Don't forget there's a square root. 9 take away 1 is going to be 8. Divided by 12 take away 2 is the square root of 10. Some people would leave it this way. Some teachers will have you leave it this way. Other teachers are going to like, yeah, you got to rationalize the expression. Why? My teacher that taught in the 60s and the 70s, yeah, a long time ago, was because when they were typing this out in typewriters, like, what is that? Machines that would type words to make papers. But the thing is, typewriters, they didn't like, there was no real way of doing this type of like fraction, so you have to rationalize it. I always thought that was a good story. Is it true? Well, the teacher was a historian in math. I don't know if it's true. But anyway, what we do here is multiply by 1, or the square root of 10 over the square root of 10. This has a special property because this is going to be 8 square root of 10 divided by, and then this is a whole 2 square roots together. You can multiply the numbers here. 8 square root of 10, the square root of 100. So when you take the square root of a number and the square root of that same number, it just becomes that number. 8 square root of 10 over 10. Square root of 100 is 10. So that's the answer. So this is negative 7 over 16. This is 8 square root of 10 over 10. Okay. So doing functions is a lot of multiplication, a lot of arithmetic, and a lot of like just math that you learned before that's not algebra. And a lot of the times, it's not the algebra, right? This is the algebra. Oh, you have a function, you're going to draw it. It's sometimes the math, right? And some people will be like, that's basic. Well, yeah, it's basic for them. So what you need to do is practice and practice and practice, and then you'll get better and better. Now, if you can use a calculator for some of these things, I think that would be a great way not to cheat and and not to get the answer. A calculator is a tool to check for your understanding, right? You can do these type of things in your head, like -6 plus 4, -2, and then check the calculator and see if your understanding is right. So you're checking for your understanding. This is a big thing that some of us don't really pay attention to. All right, so I hope you have a great semester. Please subscribe. Please tell your friends. There's a lot more in this channel. And if there's something that you want to learn or see, please tell me. All right, see you later. Bye-bye.